지금 이 자리에 계신 여러분들은 모두 감당할 수 없는 빚을 지고
In Squid Game we see 456 contestants trapped on an island where they are forced to play 6 children's game with the penalty for losing being death. Today I am going to talk you through all the strategies you would need to survive. This is Ji-Yun, a broke alcoholic who has just bet the last of his life savings on a horse race and has won $2,000. This doesn't mean much though, as he is severely in debt, and as he is exiting the bookie's store he sees some men who chase after him after falling into a young woman. They catch him, corner him in a bathroom and demand money. He was about to give them his earnings, but it turned out the woman whom he had fallen into had stolen it from him. With nothing left to give, they forced him to sign a contract stating that if he did not pay them within the next month they would take his kidney and his left eye. Sad and depressed he heads home, but as he is sitting down a salesman offers to play a game with him. Every time he flips a piece of paper with another piece of paper he will win the equivalent of £84. He is also informed that if he fails he has to pay the salesman. He informs the man that he cannot pay, who then tells him he will let him off for a slap for every debt he incurs. After a numerous amount of fails he eventually wins the money. In this game called Dachi, Ji-Yun took a lot of unnecessary slaps. His horrible technique revolved around hitting his paper's edge to the square as hard as he could, when in reality you want to increase the surface area of the cards that touch. That means not throwing your paper like a card but slamming it down vertically. After the ordeal, the strange man tells Ji-Yun that he can make even more money playing children's games. After going home and realizing that if he doesn't get more money he will never see his daughter again, he calls the number on the business card the man gave him and is taken off to a remote island to compete in the Squid Games. The first death game is red light, green light, a game in which the players must cross a large field in under 5 minutes. They can only move while the doll is singing, and when it stops they must stop. No one realizes the stakes until the first person gets shot, causing a massive stampede in which over 200 people are killed. Ji-Yun almost dies as he trips but is saved by a man named Ali. The trick to this game isn't just to go fast, but to go fast while maintaining stability. For this reason I would recommend bear crawls. This exercise allows you to move at a fairly fast pace while being able to stop at any given moment. Unlike running or jogging, it would also make you harder to detect, as you would be low behind someone, making it harder for the doll to spot you and thus giving yourself more leeway. In the next game they are told to randomly choose a shape. Ji-Yun chooses an umbrella. After they have all picked they are told that they must carve out the shape from a honeycomb-structured wafer. Well, it turns out that Ji-Yun actually gets the right technique, making the wafer moist by licking it to release it. This is the most efficient method, even beating other methods used by cheats. Though he cracked the code in the end, he could have made life far easier for himself by selecting the shape the first few people did, as they clearly knew something the others didn't. At this point, tensions in the pod are sky high, and this culminates in a massive fight in the dead of night. For a number of minutes there is no law or order, and people kill each other with no remorse until the gods eventually put a stop to it. Many techniques are employed to stay alive, from hiding in the bunk beds to straight up fighting. In a situation like this the best option is to hide under the bed, as no one will be able to see you, and even if they did they would not put themselves in a vulnerable position to go after you. Some theories say you should run to the corner of the room as it leaves you with a lower area of vulnerability, but in reality you are just cornering yourself, leaving yourself with no escape route. You see, if you were in the middle of the room and got attacked you would have 300+ degrees to stumble randomly into and escape your attacker, but when you are in a corner with your attacker right in front of you there is nowhere to run. In the next game they played tug and war and almost lose, but due to Sang-woo's genius they barely managed to clutch a win. The solution here is simple: face the opposite way. Yes, while this may seem dumb, facing away from your opponents allows you to drive forward with your quads instead of leaning back and simply trying to anchor yourself with your body weight. In the next game everyone is handed a pouch of 10 marbles and they are allowed to play a game of their choosing to win all of their opponent's marbles. Gi-yun pairs up with the old man and after promising to be best friends Gi-yun beats him. Sang-woo loses his game of odd and even bit after some betrayal he gets everyone's favorite character Ali killed. Games like odd and even are incredibly dumb as they rely on pure luck. The winning strategy is to play an ancient Chinese game called Nim. You both put your marbles in the middle so there are a combined 20 and then you take turns removing 1 or 2 marbles from the pile and whoever removes the last marble wins the game. The strategy is to take the first go and remove 2 marbles and from then on remove the opposite number of marbles your opponent removes, thus making sure you get the win. The next game they are told to walk over glass panels but there is a catch. Some of them are weak glass that will allow them to fall to their death and some of the panes are tempered glass that will hold up. After some help from a glass maker and ruthless Sang-woo, 3 people proceed and are taken to have a steak dinner and are left with their knives. The first thing we must realize is that the first person playing the game has a higher chance of dying from a meteorite impact than winning the game, so it's lucky Gi-yun went last. That being said, the technique is glaringly obvious. Just walk on the metal bars. Now before we move on to the last death game we need to address the scene beforehand. Gi-yun is talking to the girl and is about to kill Sang-woo but she stops him. He then realizes that she is injured from the glass earlier and so runs to get help, but when he turns around Sang-woo kills the girl and Gi-yun is stopped from avenging her death by the guards who came in with her coffin. You see, Gi-yun has messed up big time. Even though Soom could say that Woo eliminated 33% of the competition, she was injured and was no threat anyway. What he should have done is killed Sang-woo, thus ensuring his opponent in the next game was injured and that would guarantee him the win. The next day they are woken up and after a coin toss it is decided that Woo will play defense in the upcoming game. And Yun will play offense. They are then told that the final game will be Squid Game. Essentially as the offender Yun must try and touch his foot in the cycle at the end of the arena and Woo must push him out after a lot of fighting and Yun's action to show mercy, Woo kills himself enabling Yun to win. In this game Woo's best chance would be to straight up run as hard as he could into the circle. Any self-defense coach will tell you that when dealing with knives you are going to get stabbed, so that is a reality Yun is going to have to face. At the end of the game Yun is dumped by the roadside with a credit card loaded with cash, and that, ladies and gentlemen, sums up my guidance on how to survive Squid Game. How do you think you would do?